The function of neurons is to allow communication between cells, thereby maintaining homeostasis. Electrical signals, called membrane potentials, travel along the membranes of the neurons. Voltage variability and a distance traveled determine the type of nervous signal. Voltage variable short-distance signals are called graded potentials. Voltage constant long-distance signals are called action potentials. An action potential is the nervous impulse or signal for long-distance communication. Each action potential is generated at the cell's trigger zone. Because action potentials are either generated or not, they are considered all or none phenomena. The strength of the stimulus-graded potentials determines whether the action potential will be generated. Generating and conducting an action potential requires both sodium and potassium voltage-gated channels. Through a sequence of electrical events, an action potential momentarily reverses the charge of the membrane and then restores the resting membrane potential. Before the action potential is generated, the membrane voltage is at the resting membrane potential. Sodium-gated channels must be activated to generate an action potential. Sodium channels have both activation and inactivation gates. The strength of the stimulus-graded potentials determines whether the action potential will be generated. The voltage-gated sodium channels will not open if the graded potentials are hyperpolarizations. Weak or subthreshold depolarizations will not open voltage-gated sodium channels. Only an above-threshold depolarization will open the voltage-gated sodium channels that generate an action potential. Depolarization of the membrane will continue until the charge, or polarity, is reversed. Because action potentials are either generated or not, they are considered all or none phenomena. The reversal of the membrane charge begins the process of repolarization. Potassium channels come into play, allowing potassium ions to flow out of the cytosol. Sodium gates close. Repolarization continues, and the resting membrane potential is partially restored. Continuous redistribution of sodium and potassium ions by the sodium-potassium pump finishes repolarization and the restoration of the resting membrane potential. During the generation and conduction of an action potential, a refractory period exists. This means that the membrane cannot generate another action potential during this time.